Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. In this episode of our series Interior Design Talks, you're going to get to discover an apartment with a theme of blue tones. The client was kind enough to let us go into the apartment afterwards and take photos, and that's what we're about to dive into. Before we start the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. So in this particular project, the client's apartment was in the reconstruction phase, and the client told our interior designer Jessica that they really loved the color blue and wanted to incorporate it throughout the house. And you might think, okay, well, the interior designer would have chosen to add a lot of blue all over a whole lot of surfaces, but in fact, in reality, the apartment incorporates hints of blue carefully spread throughout the house, which really comes together beautifully, creating a refined space with these bold touches of shades of blue.
Is this the reason why you're wearing blue as well?
Oh, yes.
We did not set it up. It
No,
was by
definitely
chance.
not.
So we start by looking at the 3D model, which was developed for this project. Let's come out with our 3D mouse. Here we see the living room. Okay, let's first have a look at the whole plan, because here you see, here's the entrance of the apartment, the living room, here's the kitchen with these wide glass doors. Then here's the entrance to the night area, here, with the both bathrooms, here, and the 2 bedrooms. And in this project, our colleague Jessica worked with the client on the living room itself and the bedroom.
Okay.
Let's remove these walls, these outer walls here, so that we can see better and go more in detail. So remember, here is the entrance and the view of the kitchen. Here is a bookshelf that we will see with its lovely blue niches
Course,
and the marble table. And the bar cabinet, the piano, the Exeter sofa, which is actually one of our bestsellers,
Yes.
and a minimal but striking wall system. Very minimal, because it's just a couple of cabinets and
Yes,
shelves.
exactly. I think it's quite nice to have something simple in a room with more color than usual.
Yeah, actually, we will see the wallpaper is different from the
Yes,
project,
yes.
but then that's a final touch of the client from the client. Here we see the bedroom. The bedroom is very simple in a good way. Basically, actually, with all respect to the client, the bedroom is quite wide. We can see it from here.
Okay, yes.
Quite wide, but
Yes.
also quite narrow.
But it's quite an unusual shape.
So it's basically you enter from here. Here the client might have positioned, we don't know really, a chest of drawers,
Yeah,
a chest of drawers. But this on top of the colors, the special part of this bedroom is actually the closet, which has built around the niche for the telly.
Yes. So just after looking at designing the 3D model, what the interior designers do is they create 3D realistic photo renders, and that's what we have here to show you now.
So the one of the bookshelf,
Yes,
together
here we
with
see
the
the
table.
bookshelf with the table.
And
Oh, and then here we see the lounge. And now what you'll notice is that often with the 3D photo renders, when you compare them to then the final results, you'll notice some things change. And look here, look at that final real photo compared to the original realistic render. And that just shows you that although the interior designers do have that solid plan at the beginning, things do change. You know, you get different ideas, different inspiration. And so the client...
just like the wallpaper,
Exactly,
or the
the
carpet,
wallpaper.
the coffee tables, of course the lamp, even sometimes for this client, for privacy reasons, we don't say the name, of course, but
Yes.
even the taste with which the clients have chosen
Yes.
the objects. I see the giraffe here,
The
it's
giraffe,
beautiful.
yes, I love it. So now we move on from the realistic renders and we look at the actual photos that we then went in and took in the client's apartment. And I'll mention again, you'll really see how the renders are very good, but they can't capture the true beauty of the final product. So here we see again that lovely wallpaper.
And we see all the details and all the nice finishing touches that the client added with his own personal objects. Really love the giraffe with the lamp, holding the lamp on the coffee table, or even this vase. Everything is spot on and beautiful.
Yes.
Here we see the plan wall system cabinet collection. This is Rovere Bruno, which is used on the bookshelf on the other side. And it's very minimal, just a 24 centimeters high base hanging cabinet with these shelves and the telly, and it's beautiful. Even these small lights here, which are probably used when every light is turned off to watch the telly. I find it amazing in its simplicity.
Exactly. I think it's so nice to have a simple structure against the bold wallpaper.
Yeah. Or here's the detail. Here we see the extra sofa from the back with the lights turned off. Actually, these lights were added by the client.
Okay.
Jessica told me, I know that it's not an option offered by the Exeter sofa, and the client kind of hacked the sofa and added his LED lights.
Yes,
and
very clever.
Electricity is coming from the side here.
Okay.
And here we see a different view. Here we see details of the Exeter sofa, but we'll see the mood board later on in the video.
Yes, the actual material.
You see, it's a sky blue, which becomes grayish depending on, or more blue or more gray depending on because you see in different pictures, it gets a different shade depending on the light, really.
Yes.
Here we see a front view. Actually, we can turn off our beautiful smiles, so that we can see better the Exeter sofa.
Yes.
Okay. With actually, this is a linear composition with chaise longue and a big poof, which was a big ottoman, which was placed in front.
Okay.
And this is used like this because when you have guests, you move it like in front here. Or on the side, and you can have guests sitting onto it.
Exactly, yes.
And when you watch a good movie, you can move it in front of the main seats.
That's very useful.
And you have a bigger surface on which to lie with your family. We turn on our beautiful smiles. Back on. Okay, so we move on, an upper view, and we start seeing the piano.
Yes, I was about to say, I noticed there's a piano there.
Are you a musician?
I used to play the piano
a
very long time ago. I doubt I can remember anything still.
In every video we find out more details about it. And actually, I'm a piano player as well.
Okay.
And I could see, let's see if we see it from here. Actually, the client started straight away with Jessica saying, okay, I need a specific place for the piano. And this was the natural position. And it's actually, has not to do with the furniture, but of course, pianos, you can have it in wood, you can have a white lacquer, or the classic one, which is glossy black lacquer. And of course, we can say that they fit anywhere in terms of looks. I love the instrument itself, the piece itself.
It's very beautiful.
It's actually made, the external shell is not different from furniture in some ways. And this is a specific model, which is the silent piano by Yamaha. And you plug the headphones in it, and it becomes silent. And so you can play without disturbing the neighbors or the family. For example, for myself, when I play, my children play, oh, Papa, stop playing. And so this is a great model with a great feature. So here we see the piano and the bar cabinet.
Yes.
Okay. Here again we see the light under the Exeter sofa. The bar cabinet, this is from the Oyster collection.
Yes, it's the Oyster.
You remember Ocean Blue? Actually, Ocean Blue. We call it Sky Blue.
Okay.
And Ocean Blue.
Yes, actually, that Ocean Blue there really does match the sofa.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful piece.
It's a beautiful piece. It's a lovely shade of blue also.
This is its detail. Actually, we made a video
on the lounge collection, and we'll put the link to that above now of all the different finishes available for the wood of the lounge collection.
What's the name of this
that
process?
Is the U-shaped incision.
10-10, 10-10, okay. Yes. I wanted to check if you are prepared. Okay. Here we see another detail, and there is the inside. Okay. Actually, the inside has LED lights as well. And you realize that every video we talk about alcohol probably because in every video there's a bar.
Yes.
Okay, and here we move to of course, the main view of the wall which hosts the television, the wall system. And by doing this, we are moving toward the other side of the room.
Yes, into the dining area.
Where we have the dining table and the bookshelf. And I really love this bookshelf.
It's beautiful. It's so, so beautiful.
Actually, this was built, and this is a concept which is important to me because, this bookshelf is, let's see if here we can see it proper. Actually, it's very plain because here we see standard columns with doors underneath, and there are 7 columns. And the approach that Jessica and the client followed was, okay, a plain bookshelf from columns with even numbers, so 2, 4, and 6. We remove one shelf. You see that they actually disaligned the shelves.
Yes.
You see that they are disaligned. And they removed one shelf, and at the spot where that shelf was placed at first, they placed these lounge cabinets, which match the same exact color.
Exactly, I noticed that
of the bar cabinet.
That ocean blue.
Yeah. Here we see the details with
and
these angled shaped edges and with these light.
The LED spotlights, and I think it's so clever to put a spotlight instead of a line of LED lights because it adds shadows and light and really focuses on the object.
It's warmer actually.
Yes.
Well, sometimes just like under the exterior sofa, the LED strip is perfect.
Yes.
While on a spot like this where you want to underline, I don't know if it's an old vase or it has an emotional value, whatever is the object, you point it out really.
Yes, it becomes a museum almost.
Yeah, that's the approach here actually. And here we see the detail. And so if we go, what I wanted to point out is that it's the sum of the parts that make a furniture solution unique, because here the bookshelf itself is very plain, well built, good materials, good structures, but nothing special in itself. The cabinets here, they're simple boxes.
Yes.
They're not unique in itself. It's the way everything is joined with the joint work of the client together with the interior designer that makes the result unique. This is what I believe in. Here we see the table, and what marble was it?
This is the marble that they used in Rome. What is the word?
It's travertine.
Travertine.
And actually, actually travertine, when it's taken from the quarry, is it has lots of pores, actually holes. So sometimes travertine is filled with a rosin that fills the holes, and here is polished travertine, and the holes are actually filled. So the surface here is more smoother than other travertines being used in furniture or in construction. I think it's an evergreen material. It's never out of fashion. It's never on top of the sales, I would say, but it's never out of fashion. It's evergreen. Is it correct word? Yeah. And actually, I love this table because it's a very simple design with these U-shaped supports and the transparent glass. Here we see this is not extra white transparent glass, so it has this subtle green shade that glass gives. So you can perceive standard float glass because when you see it from the side it has this dark green shade, while the extra white, when you see it from this perspective, it gets this very light green shade. But for example, considering there is no carpet, because sometimes I suggest extra white transparent glass when you want to underline a carpet underneath, while here with no carpet and just the beautiful flooring, it works like this. And here we see the microfiber used for the chairs, which actually matches the color of the travertine base.
There we see the chairs again.
Yeah.
And they're upholstered in the Vega velvet.
It's actually it's no it's you know, oh I must how do you say it? It was used the Touch microfiber,
Okay.
which is very similar to Ambassador, but we will see it in the
Okay.
word. Okay. She probably used too much wine from the bar cabinet.
I think so.
Yeah. I'm kidding. Okay. Here we see another example of how colors change depending on the lighting, and so here we see a detail. Here it becomes more beige, and okay, so we saw the pictures of the living area, but what I wanted to point out is, let's see at this picture here. You know, sometimes let's look at this picture. I tend not to use warm and cold colors together, so that's my limit. I would probably avoid using blue together with beige and brown. I would not think it as being likable.
It's definitely unusual.
And here it is beautiful indeed. And so even for professionals like as I am, sometimes you must not stick to a prejudice or to something you're used to, and you must venture into something different, because these pictures actually show that the result is beautiful. Even the use of green, which was not in the furniture, actually plants or even this lampshade, it's beautiful. Sorry for using too often this word, but it's what I think.
It's true, it is beautiful. So here we move from the living space to the master bedroom, which is another zone that our interior designers focused on. And so we'll take a look at the real photos of that now.
And here we see the closet. With this shape of room is actually a usual approach to use hinge door closet collection, because in comparison to sliding doors, not only they are more compact in depth, but the hinge door closet allows for more flexibility in dividing the different areas. Because here we see we have a total of 9 doors, which are all identical in width, every door. And so we have 1, 2, 3, and 8, 9, which are full vertical doors.
Yes.
And the middle section, which is 4 doors, we have drawers units underneath with a big drawer. And we can actually zoom. I found out. Wow. Ooh. And then 2 drawers here, the niche for the television, and the upper doors for additional storage. A few considerations. Well, first of all, we'll see it later on. The details, so like the grips and the back panel of the tele niche actually match the bedside tables and the headboard of the bed. Another thing to consider is that the intelligent use of LED here as well.
Definitely.
We don't perceive it much because of much light coming in from here, but you can perceive it by zooming in, and it's beautiful, and it's also comfortable when you look at the television.
Yes.
One thing I can consider is that, in my opinion, if I place the television in front of the bed, I normally tend to place it a little higher.
Yes, exactly.
My joke with clients is that if you have long feet and you're resting on your bed, you would see your feet in the television. So I normally tend to place it a little higher, but I'm sure that it was something that was taken into consideration by Jessica and the clients. And also, I'd like to point out the use of fillers on the side and on the upper part of the closet. You see it here. You see this was done.
Yes.
Basically, you can make custom closets very easily now, and with not much additional cost, you can do it custom made. In our last project, we were discussing that. And but there are times where you can use fillers. And this is a perfectly installed filler. Actually, it was then cut here where the plinth, the kickboard.
Yes, the
kickboard is okay, and it was used also in the upper part. You know, normally we are not supporters of fillers, because if your wall here is not perfectly aligned. And actually here you see that it's not perfectly aligned, but this is a very good result. If the wall or the ceiling are not perfectly aligned, you could have you could have, actually the filler sometimes could even point out the non-linearity of the wall or the ceiling even more.
It's
so
true.
we suggest sometimes to use an alternative approach with a custom element, or to simply stay down from the ceiling, things like that, or to involve a plasterboard technician, gessista. Have you checked the gessista in Italian?
I couldn't find it. I don't know what they are.
Oh, we will write it in the subtitles.
I don't know that word.
We must find gessista in English, okay? We must find it in German and French as well. So we put it in subtitles. And actually, if you avoid using fillers, most of times it's the best way, cost-wise and result-wise. Here, we must say that it was a great result.
Definitely.
Perfectly designed and perfectly installed. So we move forward and we see the bed. We see again how blue was used in multiple parts of the house, and the fact that you must not use much of a color to use that color to characterize a certain
Also, it just
area.
becomes too much. And this is our Umbra bed.
Yeah, Umbra we see the matching curtains, the matching wallpaper, and the bedside tables with the Cleveland collection, and colors of these units. You see how beautifully they integrate the detail. Oh, now I must use this zoom feature more often.
Oh yes.
Okay. We see the detail of the headboard, which you can actually tilt it.
Yes, it's reversible.
Reversible. Okay, yeah.
And then the top of the bedside table matches the back panel behind the TV.
Okay. Yeah, here we see the detail, and here the bedside table, which has the same color of the of the grips. Okay. Here we see it lighter.
Oh, so the grips are also blue.
Yeah. We see it lighter because it was a close-up picture, but it's the same exact color. And here we see an artistic shot of the actually where I was imagining that a chest of drawers would be positioned. This is the entrance of the room.
Okay.
This mirror was positioned, and this shot shows the telly area on the right of the room. Okay, we start reviewing the sample collection, the samples used for this project.
Our mood board.
And we start with the fabric used for the sofa, which is the Penelope fabric. It's actually, of course, as we said, the color varies much depending on the light conditions. And it's in between blue and gray. And actually it was positioned between two shades of gray. And it's this one, okay. And together with it, we can start adding, for example, the Rovere Bruno, which was used for the
wall system, exactly.
Yeah, for the wall system, okay. And we see it here. Okay. It's actually quite dark, but with these blonde shades.
These lighter streaks.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can add the champagne and ocean blue.
Yes, there's that ocean blue that we saw.
Of the bar cabinet.
It's the bar cabinet, and then also later we'll see inside the.
So this is the bar cabinet, and with its peculiar inside, which is beautiful as well, even if you don't perceive it from the outside. And this is the actual combination of the bookshelf.
Yes. Beautiful colors together.
Okay, so here, this is, we don't need it. This is the details. And then we have the table.
Yes,
and here we have travertine. A piece of the Colosseum directly to your home.
It shows you it's really timeless. If they were using it so many years ago.
Actually, you see travertine in its
it's got the holes.
In its nature. Okay, so sometimes these holes are filled and sometimes not.
Okay.
It depends on the actual product, whether the partner factory. How do you choose to work on it, and also it depends on the client's taste, whether you like a certain surface. In both cases, it is polished, so it's reasonably smooth if you touch it.
Yes.
And but you still get the odds. Actually, here I read marmo travertino romano, Roman travertine.
Roman travertine.
Wow.
Wow.
So the base of the table.
And then here we have the top.
The tops, well, this is transparent glass, but actually we took both standard float glasses, transparent glass, and extra white transparent glass. Here, this is the standard float, just like in our project. You perceive the edge as being less dark or lighter than the pictures we showed you, but this is because this is a small sample. And if it was bigger, you would perceive the edge as being much darker. And this is the extra white. This is the difference. You see, this is totally transparent.
Yes.
While it is indeed transparent, but it does alter in some ways the colors.
Yes, the colors underneath definitely change.
And this is the difference between extra white transparent and standard transparent. And sometimes clients do wonder, oh, what is best for me? Of course, well, what is best for you is what you like
your
most.
choice. Yes.
I spoke once to a manufacturer of glass furniture, so a real specialist, and he said, oh, I don't like extra white transparent glass. The real glass is the standard float.
Yes.
And you know, it's his opinion. I do love extra white because it's more transparent, but that opinion is as valuable as mine, and so it's really up to the client to decide. What do you think? How would you prefer a glass table to be, with the extra white or the standard that you get this greenish edge? Which one would you prefer?
Well, at first I would have said, when I think of a glass table, I think of something that's completely clear, almost like crystal, and so I would want the clear one. But actually, after seeing the photos where you see the green outline, I really do like that finish. It's very interesting, and I like how it gives a sort of greenish filter to.
Okay, so we throw it away, and we keep it in our mood board. This one, okay, the transparent glass. Let's leave it like this, okay. And we take the chairs, and actually I should beat myself, because when I corrected Juliette before, I was wrong. And
Andrea has been drinking too much wine.
Yeah, exactly. Cream. Actually, I was drinking Amarula cream.
Yes.
And this is the fabric which was used for the chairs, the Velvet Vega in color cream. You see, that's jokes apart. It's a nice tone with the travertine. Okay. And the matte stone bronze was the color used for the legs of the chairs. And so even if we look at something like this, remember, it's the bookshelf. It all connects.
It does. It all ties together very beautifully.
In a good way. And my opinion is that in our last video, in our last project, we were seeing loads of materials put together.
Yes.
Here, if you think of it, there are not many.
It's a more narrow selection.
A narrow selection, which works well nonetheless. Let's remember, this is the color of the sofa. And we hope you like this messy but effective mood board.
Yes, messy but
messy
effective.
Because of our presentation, but the selection is nice. So we move to the bedroom, where the boucle Dorian was used for the bed, for the Ambra bed.
The Ambra bed, yes.
The main color. This is color 002, which is a beige shade of
flecks
white.
Of white. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. You know, there are some boucles which are very shallow, and some which are very big. This is kind of mid.
Yes, it's sort of where you can meet in the middle.
Yeah, and I like it in terms of touch and feel. And on the bed, it was matched together with the microfiber touch melange 776. Okay, which is this ocean blue color, which matched perfectly the wallpaper of our client. Okay, so this is it. And then we take the how's it called? This one, the blue note. Okay, nice blue.
Night blue.
Nice blue. Here we have the the glossy sample, but for that room was used the matte version.
And that was used on the back panel behind the
back
TV
panel, the
and
top of
on
the
top of the
bedside tables and the grips.
Yes.
And the grips. So this is it. It probably appears darker than it is, but okay, yeah, it is. And finally, the whole closet was the Utah. Okay, and so this is actually the. Sorry, because I'm trying to make it appear. Actually, in the pictures, it appeared lighter. It really
yes.
varies.
In the pictures, you get a good idea.
Okay.
I think it just depends on the light. We really hope that you have enjoyed this video, this episode of our Talks series, in which we've taken you on an adventure around this apartment with the blue theme that our interior designer Jessica created, and a big thanks to her. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to catch more episodes of our interior design talks.
Thanks, and see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.